So, hello, how are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Good, I'm really good, thank you. So, today I'm going to talk about men's mental health. Um, First of all, before we go anywhere else, anything that we talk about today is not any sort of medical advice. We are just talking about either your experiences or things that you've seen kind of through your career. Um, if anyone has any concerns, they need to seek advice from their professional. So just a little disclaimer before we get started. So tell me a little bit about you. I want to know a bit more about you and your background.
So I hi, my name's Lloyd. I am counsellor
Yeah.
and I started counselling off the back of the pandemic. I started making content which was to try and help people learn how to communicate. I anticipated that after such a stint of like disconnection,
Yeah.
people would struggle to reconnect. That started off as coaching for communication, then that evolved into relationship coaching. Then I was like, I don't want to be giving anyone false information. So I started a degree in counseling and psychology. Then I joined a community called the Man Cave
Yeah.
and I become a counselor or like a primary support through that. And then that journey evolved into me becoming a director of the Man Cave. Um, but largely, even throughout my entire life, I've always been quite a compassionate and empathetic person. I love support people. I've got a massive family. We met through a mutual connection, my brother.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, so it's nice to be able to turn that into an occupation. And I thought, what? During the pandemic, I was like, there's not enough time in the world to do things you don't want to do.
Yeah.
And one thing that I was really passionate about, really wanted to get involved with was supporting others. So,
And
yeah,
it's so needed as well, honestly. And I think having what I would call like down to earth, normal people doing this type of job,
yeah, just
just,
human, isn't it?
yeah, human, someone that's easy to talk to, someone that's like on a level makes
Yeah.
such a difference as well. Um, so how long have you been you're still doing your degree now?
I'm in my last year.
Yeah.
So it was a part-time degree, but I did it like I did full-time studying. So rather than it being 6 years, it was supposed to take me 3. One of the years I accidentally put part-time, so it's taken me 4. So this is my 4th year.
Yeah.
Um, and I have been counselling and supporting uh, in a in the context of mental health support groups charity for 3 years, 4 years now.
So you run the man cave now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it just you running it at the moment? There's more?
No, effectively. So on paper, whilst I'm the director, I'm not the only one responsible for keeping that base intact,
Yeah.
safe, running. There's another gentleman called John O'Poon, who has been essentially my right hand. He's been incredible. He's been a part of the Man Cave almost as long as I have. So prior to us both being leads, we've both been a part of the community for a very long time. And then even aside from that, we've got lots of community leaders who all of them have also been a part of the community for a long time. And each respective caves. So we've got like Northampton, Bedford. Now we've got Toaster. All of them have a different energy and are manned by different leaders. So without them, the cave wouldn't happen either. So it's not a one man thing.
Yeah.
It can't be done by one individual. It's just these positions need people to fill them. So I happen to be the director, but I have no doubt that any one of these gentlemen could do what I could do because they're so committed to the mission as well.
Yeah. And do you find that you're noticing like patterns of the types of people who come to?
I think one, it kind of goes without saying, one of the type of people that come here, people who are struggling, why they struggle, how they struggle always looks different. But I think, interestingly, there's always this feeling of letting people down. Like prior to them wanting to take care of themselves, before that, the thing that's gotten into the cave is, I feel like I'm letting people down. I feel like I'm letting kids down. I feel like I'm letting the partner down. I feel like I'm not doing right by my family. And a lot of that comes from how they perceive themselves against this like elusive expectation of what it is to be a man.
Yeah.
So, a man's supposed to be doing this, is supposed to deal with his emotions this way, and is supposed to communicate this way, and have this kind of physique and show up in this capacity. But I think a lot of people realize that that's not who they are, and that directly opposes who they are in their gender, because they're like, actually, as a man, this is how I should be,
Yeah.
but this is who I am. And then there's that almost dissonance, and they're like, oh, am I who I think I am? So a lot of the time, the people we see are people who, I guess, have a bit of a crisis in identity in some ways. Some of them,
Putting a lot of pressure on themselves.
usually.
It sounds like there's a lot of guilt.
Yeah, guilt.
Some way, whether that's something that they have put upon themselves or something that they've experienced, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and I feel like, and not to say that actually the grander community is not guilty of also perpetuating that expectation, but a lot of the expectations us men have of what it is to be a man is not something that's explicitly said to us. Sometimes it's the case. Sometimes we've been told men don't cry, men don't do this. But a lot of us haven't heard that ourselves firsthand. A lot of us have heard that in media or heard stories of other men hearing it, and we've onboarded that.
Or even in the playground, you know, like in the playground, if a boy's crying, they would be told to man up, you know, but they're not even a man yet. And it doesn't mean crying is not part of being a man, you know, but girls weren't told the same thing.
Yeah,
girls were allowed. Yeah, girls were allowed to show emotion, whereas girls, I think, are more. If they show anger, that's something that
get penalised.
Yeah, and it's almost like
it's not ladylike to be angry.
No, whereas one of the things I wanted to talk to you about actually was women are always told about being emotional, or you're too emotional, you're too this, you're too much of this. Whereas, and we had a discussion about this before, like the whole anger thing with men. You said that's an emotion, you know, but that tends to be how I think emotions come out in men more.
Yeah, it's the one they're allowed to feel and express, because it almost, again, it's conducive to this perception of being strong. Because a lot of people, so I remember reading a study on power, and something that determines power isn't necessarily resources or ability, it's aggression. A lot of the people in power or who have power are the people who are most aggressive. And anger, a lot of the time, is expressed in aggression in lots of different contexts. And power is what we want to see in men.
Yeah.
So I feel like men are allowed to be angry because it almost works in favour of them.
Yeah, I think anger is seen to be something that is, like you say, powerful, whereas I see it more now coming from a place of fear a lot of the time.
That's exactly what it is. A lot of the time, anger is just disguised fear.
Yeah.
I think it's a mix of the two. It's almost like capabilities, injustice, fear. But the point is, you're allowing the emotion to control you versus being able to hold the emotion.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of men, because they haven't got practice in other emotions, joy, upset, sadness, fear, it all just accumulates and becomes anger.
Yeah.
And they become proficient in that. And so anytime they feel anything, they're like, fuck it, let's switch it.
Default.
And become angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously you work with the Man Cave, you're part of that. You work with people on a one-to-one basis as well?
Yeah.
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 So
work with couples as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's been interesting. Because also, like you said about the Man Cave, like what kind of people do I see? I think in counselling, it's very simple. A lot of people, obviously, you're coming to get support for pain points, but ultimately, it's to feel in control again. I think a lot of people feel lost, disconnected with themselves, and they don't have confidence in who they are or what they're doing or saying.
Yeah.
And I think that's a through line that most people can empathise with. Like a lot of people have felt that at some point in their life.
Yeah, definitely.
And how you manage it is entirely up to you. But the point is, there's not just one way. You can go to therapy, you can go to a support group, you can do other things. But yeah, there's a massive through line between the two.
Why would somebody choose to have like the one-to-one therapy over coming to something like a group therapy session? Is there considerations there?
I think people, they know more than they realise about how they can receive help or what they're best going to align with. And I think some people come to therapy because the focus is them. They don't just want support. They don't just want to be heard. They want tools. They want something more specific. And you're only going to get that when the focus is on you. It's like when you're in school, being in a classroom versus being into like a mentoring session.
Yeah.
Support groups are great for connection because you're in a space where people can hear you. And that might be all you need. I just need to be heard. I need the space. And then through that vulnerability, you create connection. So that might be all you need. It's very integrative in this modality. Whereas one-to-ones are a lot more particular. If you've got a particular challenge, a particular trouble, or even if you can't identify what that thing is, but you know it's there, then a one-to-one, it's like, okay, now we're going to dig. We're going to unearth some things, and we're also going to have the capacity to hold space. As soon as you're making realizations that might be a bit daunting to you, a bit overwhelming, we're already in the space of safety. Someone there is able to help you like hold that. So they both have merits, very different merits. One is not better than the other. They just meet
different
purpose. Like, yeah, they fulfill different needs.
Both could be beneficial together because you can actually work on your things, you know, like one-to-one if you're in a session with you.
Absolutely, yeah.
But they're building the community, like especially with men. I think that's so important. I think women just naturally are more pack based, aren't they?
Yeah.
So if we have an issue, first thing we do normally is ring our friend, text our friend.
And that's the culture, right?
The girls then just come into the group chat. Everyone's like, right, we're going over to Sam's house tonight.
Yeah.
She's having a bit of a time. So everyone comes over, like.
And our support's there.
And we're in tune with that as well. And we notice it and pick it up when it's other people.
Yeah.
Whereas men in my life, like, they don't seem to have those types of friendships a lot of the time.
It's all very much lone wolf energy.
Yeah. And I think a big part of wellness in general is that connection and community.
Yeah.
So I think if you haven't got that, you feel really isolated. And I would imagine isolation is one of the big factors in mental health. Like, you know.
So that's one of the biggest, like feeling alone / feeling disconnected is one of the biggest pain points, I think, across the board, across all cultures that people experience is that I feel alone, feel disconnected, I feel misunderstood. And a lot of that comes from, I believe, like a lack of information. Like, no one is affirming to you what they know about you just in a conversation. No one, you're not having a conversation today where it's like, hi Sam, how you doing? Just to remind you, I know X, Y, Z about you. You know what I mean? It's not that, it's how these things are expressed are through relationships.
Yeah.
Someone gets you a gift that honors who you are, and you're like, oh, that person is paying attention. And that's not done just through gifts, it's done through behavior. Oh, this person's like sitting next to me, they're not giving me advice, they're just standing with me, they know that's what I like and what I need. Men don't do that in many contexts outside of like sports or war. And it's like, why does it have to be so dramatic?
And men don't compliment each other very well either. Like, that's a weird thing to men, isn't it?
It's so strange. Yeah. I was so the guy who founded the Man Cave, Scott, Scott, so I shout out to him like every opportunity I have to big him up. Well done to putting together the Man Cave. He's also working on something called Lads, which is an app which kind of is trying to meet the needs that the Man Cave does, but also trying to bring it online so that people who don't have a Man Cave near them can connect. And it's not
access for everything. Yeah.
It's not just a support group, it's connecting you with resources.
Yeah.
And one of the pieces of content we created, because I was working with him in creating some of the content, was compliment men. In the middle of London, got a microphone in my hand, I'm complimenting men. And it's mad how good it felt, because one thing that I know that other men are conscious of, I am too, is when you compliment a woman, it feels like there's an agenda.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm trying to get somewhere here. And it's not that. And so you kind of reason, well, I might as well just not compliment, because they're going to think I'm hitting on them.
Yeah.
It's going to get a little messy. But you compliment a man, and you could just do it without an agenda. And that
have you got film with this?
I think I might be able to find a video, because it was on Lads, lads.app on the Instagram. I'll find it, I'll send it to you.
Yes.
But since then, I've made a point of complimenting men. And there was a festival I went to recently where like guys come up to me and they were gassing me up. And it felt uncomfortable, because I was like, that agenda that you think is missing, after a while, you're like, nah, it's definitely here. They're trying to get somewhere. Because
I must be looking really good today.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man, you guys are like shouting out, and it felt good. But you're right, men don't do that by default.
No, whereas women do, you know. Yeah. Women always compliment each other.
Immediately, they look for the opportunities. And sometimes they do it to the detriment of men. I was at another festival, and a woman I knew complimented the woman I was with. And we weren't even together, but everyone just assumes you are. You know, like, you're punching. Like, she could do so much better. I'm like, relax. Don't cut me now. Like, let me live.
Yeah.
But yeah, the kind of volition that women have to just big each other up is great. It feels like a sisterhood that transcends whether you know each other.
Yeah.
And I feel like what's great is that, from what I've experienced with the man cave particularly, is that that's starting to exist. I am starting to notice that a lot of men in different spaces are making an effort, regardless of whether or not they're a part of the community. They are making an effort to
There
try.
needs to be a bigger move,
Yeah.
I think, to compliment men.
Yeah. But I feel like over time, it's something no one has taught you.
Yeah.
Like, no one's taught men to do that. No one's told them to. A lot of men are figuring that out.
Yeah.
Like, just give people their flowers.
And I don't even mean just like compliment you in like your looks and stuff like that, but just I think some validation in your behaviours and stuff like that. I had a lady tag me in something on Instagram the other day, and I'd met her at a networking event, and then we had a meeting. And during the meeting, I realised there were some things I could do to support her growth, which would also support other people's growth. So I was like, I'm going to connect you with these people, which I did. And then she'd commented on a video on Instagram, which was all about when you kind of say offer help, or you're like, oh yeah, hit me up if you need anything. But 9 times out of 10 people don't mean that. They're just saying it because it's what you said.
Yeah.
But she'd commented and she said, Sam, thank you for being the person who like follows through with your promises. And I'd literally done something really simple, like connect her with a couple of people via email. But that meant so much to me because I was like, you're validating one of the most important qualities I like to have is my integrity, which I was watching your video on that earlier. And when I was watching it in my head, I was thinking integrity, and then you said it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of boosted my morale, my sort of like self-esteem. That the reason I kind of do the things that I'm doing is because I want to support other people, but a lot of the time that's not recognised. So just having that little bit of recognition, it feels great. And I think women get that a lot more than men anyway. So I think there's not like an even playing ground on stuff like that.
I don't disagree. I think the standards are very different into which women are held and men are held. And I feel like it's so subjective. We get to choose who we listen to.
Yeah.
Like, I know there are men out there in my life who think I need to be a certain height, a certain width, a certain weight, eating certain foods, treat people a certain way. And I'm never going to be a man until I do all those things. But for me, I'm not trying to be a man. I'm trying to be me. Like, whether that's a male experience, a female experience, me not care. It's just, I want to be Lloyd.
Yeah.
And my prerogative is understanding who he is. And he's my responsibility. He's always been and always will be my responsibility. So I try to encourage a lot of other men to do that for themselves, because realistically, in anyone else's life, it will be them being themselves that permits other people to show up.
Yeah.
And ironically, that's the most manly thing you can do, is be who you are unapologetically. Yeah. That level of authenticity. And like you said, I made a video, or I uploaded a video yesterday about what is something you love about yourself. And integrity is something I love about myself. Authenticity is another. I like being me. If it upsets other people, that's unfortunate, but I like being me.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to rephrase that. That's not a fair way of saying it. I think a lot more people could be more aware of those things. I don't think people think about the fact that they don't think about things that about themselves, or the things that they do well, or the things that they're proud of. We're always on a journey of like, right, I need to do this, or I need to achieve this.
It's always on to the next thing.
On to the next thing, and not looking back at what you've done already, or kind of,
even if it's a celebration for a minute. Yeah,
the tiniest little thing, but having that awareness of who you are, what you're about, the things that you're really proud of, the things that you do well.
Yeah.
I was going to talk about that video, and you've kind of brought it up. So I think that's so important, and that's definitely something that everybody needs to do more of.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be like overly self-congratulatory. It just has to be like, there was a part that I've edited out in that video, which was like, and it was a very simple part, and it was just saying, reflecting, not in like a crazy deep mindful way. It doesn't have to be anything where you're over examining what you do. And then I'll go on to say about microdosing pride. It's like just a little moment being like, oh, like I did that. It could be something you say in a weird way. I often, just when I'm listening to like TikToks or films or videos, if I hear something funny, I think they call it echolalia. I'm not quite sure if there's like a distinction between just pop culture referencing and echolalia, but anytime I hear a sound, I can't help it. It's like a compulsion. I'll make that sound. But I've started being aware of it, and I quite enjoy that about myself. If I hear something funny in the middle of a film, it might be annoying to other people. I'll just say it, but then I'm quite like, that's like a little quirk that I have. Other people have it, but I have it too.
Yeah.
And then even the way I'll dance, or even the way I move, or even the way I speak, I noticed that I say captain. Captain is one of my greetings. Like I'll say, what's good, love? How you doing, darling? Aye, captain.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where did that come from? That comes from when I was in college. I had an Italian tutor, and he used to, anytime we said something, he used to say, aye, captain. And it used to just fill me, personally, my experience of that was it filled me with confidence, or filled me with confidence. Felt me, right? But it filled me with confidence. And I was like, this guy trusts me. Like, it makes me feel like a boss.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to take that. I'm going to use that to evoke that feeling in other people. I like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't mine originally, but I took it.
Yeah.
And I used it to try and evoke a pleasant feeling in other people. And it's those little micro moments where you're like, but that's one thing I like doing.
Yeah.
That's one quirk I like having. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I really enjoy the fact that I made this person feel this way by doing this thing. It doesn't have to be a deep reflection.
And I think if you struggle with that, like that kind of giving yourself some praise or whatever, I try to think about, and you might have some other ideas of what people can do, but I try to think about how I would talk to somebody else if I'd seen them do that.
No, that's really
So, like, for example, like say, I don't know, let's say I've done something really well. I've managed to set up all the equipment.
well done. Well done.
Which is something that I find difficult. Anything techie is not for me, but I've managed to do it.
Smash it.
And rather than me being like, oh my God, that took me ages, like, you need to do that better, I think about how I would say it if it was my daughter doing it, and I'd be like, yeah, but you got there. You did it in the end. It's the compassion.
Yeah.
And I think we need more of that.
Absolutely.
Don't we?
Yeah, and I like, so I often tell people to approach it like that, because I feel like it's the best way to bring an awareness to the difference in how we treat others versus how we treat ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's weird, there is a bit of a dissonance in, okay, we treat others this way, it doesn't feel like it's good enough. But it's not, because we're aware of how that feeling like is embodied by them, because we don't treat ourselves with that same compassion. But saying, listen, how would you speak to your daughter, your son, your partner, if they were in the same situation? You know that energy is going to be different.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to treat yourself with more compassion, almost normalize praise. Another thing is being aware of your self-perception versus the objective, like, perception of others. Well, okay, it's not objective, but subjective perception of others, or objective traits you have. So a lot of people have an idea of who they are, but it's not based in reality. It's an imagined version. And sometimes being complimented works against that perception. If you praise me for something,
Doesn't align with what you do.
and my idea of me is not someone who gets praised for that thing, then I'm going to do, unconsciously, I'm going to protect that version, because that's what creates a coherent understanding of me in my life. But that's an abstract. That's not a real thing. Instead, what I could do is look at the data, look at the evidence. Okay, I've had a few compliments today. They're based on the things that I do. I have to just acknowledge and accept that my behavior benefits people. And now that becomes a real thing that I could be like, you know what? That aside, I do help people. I do support people. And that starts becoming part of the identity that I have, as opposed to the one I think I have.
Yeah.
Like the version of me I think I am versus who I actually am.
Yeah.
There's a massive discrepancy there. And so sometimes that needs adjusting. You need to audit it.
Yeah.
So yeah, with those two things, I think people can build their self-esteem without changing their behavior too tough.
Yeah. It's listen to literally the statistics. And if lots of people are telling you you've done something good.
Right, good. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah. I've read something once that completely blew my mind, and I won't do it any justice by talking about it now, but it was talking about the version of you that you have in your head is going to be completely different to every other version everybody else has in their head. So it was basically trying to get you to think about who you really are.
Yeah.
Because there isn't one version of you.
There's never one.
There's never one version of you. You exist in everyone's, well, you may not be thought about, but everyone who's ever met you will have a version of you. Yeah.
And you occupy a different part of their life.
Yeah.
And I had the exact same thing, and it was weird because it was my brother. I was sat behind the computer. My brother, who doesn't live with me, was at my house. He was sat there just on his phone. He was just talking about conversation out at the pub. And he dropped that on me, and I was like, that's mad profound coming from this place.
Yeah.
But it's correct. And there's a book, Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty, and he's someone who was like really caught up in the rat race and then decided to go to an ashram.
I really like him.
Yeah, become a monk. Really, really like insightful dude, really mindful. And he was like, you essentially don't know what people are thinking. You're trying to meet the expectations of the version of them that you expect.
Yeah.
It's not even their version. It's not even them. So you're kind of in this like weird loop of trying to anticipate, but you've already started on the wrong foot because you're anticipating an imagined version of them, imagining an imagined version of you.
Yeah.
And now you're like, wow, what am I doing?
Yeah.
How about just forget all that? Look around you. Who are you now?
Yeah.
What do you want to do? How do you want to make people feel?
Because otherwise we just create so many issues for ourselves. Somebody else is feeling a way about you, and then you have feelings about yourself based on an imagined perception of what they think.
It's a madness. And the thing is, we get so caught up in thinking our feelings that we don't feel them. And we don't trust people to talk about their feelings with us. So if I'm like, oh no, they're going to feel this way if I do this, ask them. Just talk to them. How would you feel if I did this? Like, how are you going to feel about this? How does this make you feel? Like, how are you feeling today?
And communication is got to be right up there with mental health in general.
Yeah, it's as much as people are getting better at it, I still feel like it's underutilized because it's not just something you need to do. It's something that can be done. Well, it's a skill.
Yeah.
And I don't want to discourage people from communicating, saying you have to do it right. There are ways to do it correctly. There are ways to do it better.
So for somebody who feels the need to get stuff off of their chest, but they don't necessarily have somebody like yourself who's they're working with, and that's like a working relationship, and that it's your job then, isn't it, to listen to those things. What should they do?
If they haven't got someone else they can communicate with, because it's not even saying don't trauma dump. Trauma dumping is a mechanism, and it's what keeps your head above water. I need to offload. Don't care who, I don't care when.
It's got to come out.
It's got to come out. By all means, be inconvenient. Like, show up, be annoying. I don't care. If you have the capacity to check in with the person beforehand, do that. Mm-hmm. If you haven't got a person to talk to, then there are means of talking in a way that allows you to process information differently. And to be honest, that's what journaling utilizes. I'm not much of a journaler. I don't like sitting there with a pen and paper. My brain works so much faster than my hands do. But I like to chat rubbish. So for me, I voice note myself. Yeah. And it allows me to almost hear solutions in real time. And I've brought out before on like other platforms, but there's like a problem solving technique that different industries use. I know that in like tech industry, they call it the rubber ducky or rubber ducking. And basically what you used to find is people used to go to their supervisors, talk about their problem. Hey, can I talk to you about my problem? I've done this line of code, this issue's occurring. But as they're talking about it out loud, they're hearing themselves identify the problem and resolve the problem.
So they're already starting to make the kind of connections in their own mind.
And they've attributed the solution to the person they've spoken to. That person has just listened.
Yeah.
And I promise you, listening is probably the thing that people do the worst and the least. So having someone there to listen was all they needed for them to come up with a solution. And I mean, instead of going to a supervisor now, they have a little rubber duck on a desk and they talk to their duck. And that's all it has to be. And for me, I voice it myself. Some people, when I'm creating content as well, ironically, a lot of the times when I'm creating content, I'm hearing myself adjust my ideas in real time. And sometimes if you haven't someone to trauma dump on, interested in you like you wish someone else was.
Yeah.
Ask the questions to yourself that you wish other people would ask. Give a go at answering them, see what you come up with. And then what you'll find is actually it becomes a more concise thing and you get to the real core of the issue, and then you can start working on actioning that as opposed to just sharing the pain.
Yeah.
So
it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, part of my studying, as you know, I'm studying functional wellness, hormone health, and part of what I'm learning is coaching. So there's an element to it where I'm coaching people. And the coaching, we're not really there to give a solution. We're there to facilitate somebody finding their own solution, which is really, really interesting. So each week I'm on a session with one of the other students of the college, and we've spent some time coaching each other. And we try to come up with something that we actually want to work through so that it gives the other person the experience and we get something out of it as well. And the other day, I actually felt like I completely talked myself into something that I've been trying to figure out for ages. She didn't really provide anything other than asking me more questions, like, oh, like, well, how does that make you feel? You know, like, and I was obviously talking through it. And by the end, she was like, I really feel like that wasn't useful. I was like, I actually feel like I've got a plan now, which I didn't have 20 minutes ago, you know, so that makes perfect sense. I've never really thought about talking out loud. I do write stuff more like, not journaling, but I've got, it's my vision. I've got it in my notes on my phone. So my vision that I want, or things that I want to do and achieve, I write them in there and then I go back and reread them. And sometimes I might put a question, how am I going to get there? How am I going to do this? And then I've already asked that question to myself because I've said it out loud, and it really does work, doesn't it?
I think, and I might be misunderstanding the concept, it's something called self-disclosure, which is essentially just talking about yourself. And I think journaling and like talking to yourself or talking to a teddy bear, your pet. I used to talk to my dog a lot. I used to have mad conversations with my dog, bless him. All he did was listen, but he was the sickest therapist. And I think that helps you kind of permit yourself in areas that you didn't feel like you had the power to like do anything about. And I remember also even having someone give you crap advice or be a terrible listener, sometimes that still helps. I remember I was on a bit of a mission to like fix my money because I'm crap on money. I'm dead with money. And someone was just giving me really poo advice. And I was like, oh, God, no, that's not going to work. What would work for me is if I thought about it like this. And then I was like,
so you needed the bad advice.
I needed the bad advice and the frustration to be like, oh, let me just fix it my damn self. And basically for me, the solution was to look at it as a psychological issue. I'm great with, as a counsellor, I'm great with psychological stress and pain and issue, and I can action that. But when it's money, when it's financial, I'm clueless. I'm not proficient in that area. But if I turn money into a psychological issue, now I'm a money expert. So for me, since then, everything seemed to have automatically clicked. And it's not always going to be that simple for everybody. But the fact that it was that effective for me, it was quite profound. I was like, oh, okay.
So it's not just the communicating with others, it's being able to communicate well with yourself as well. That's got to be a skill.
Being honest, it's just, and that's the thing with being honest with yourself, is that you have to accept who you are. A lot of people hide behind these little lies that they tell themselves. And funny enough, I uploaded a video yesterday, which was the, what do you love about yourself? But I uploaded a completely different video, which I made, and it's very clear I was having some feelings. But I watched it back and I was like, I do like the energy, so I'm going to post it. And it was basically everyone BS's themselves. Like, you just BS yourself. You BS yourself hoping you could be better at BSing other people, but realistically, you're only going to frustrate yourself. And we do that. We all do that. I don't want to admit that I was wrong here, so I'm going to pretend that I Googled the wrong thing or did the wrong thing. I just didn't understand. You did. You're rubbish. You're crap at this. You're not good at that. It's okay. Because the thing is, once you start acknowledging that, then you can do something about it. You can't clean up a mess that you have not made. So you don't start cleaning up a clean space. You have to allow the mess to appear, then clean it up. And it sounds, obviously, as an analogy, I'm not saying don't make a mess so you can clean it up. I'm just saying don't try and move from the place that you're not in. If you're at the starting line, be at the starting line. Don't pretend you're halfway through lap 6. Just be at the starting line, go from there. And then keep moving from where you are. You can't take steps from where you aren't. So,
meet yourself where you are. Same as when you're trying to meet other people.
You can only meet them where they are.
where they are as well.
And it's exactly that. Meet yourself where you are. Much more concise. I like it.
What do you think the signs are of people who are suffering with their mental health? Is there things that you notice in people, not even necessarily people that you are working with or people who you meet in the man cave? Let's talk about maybe friends or family or like people that you know well enough to know their normal behaviours. What type of things do you notice when people are struggling?
Good question. The signs are always going to be crazy subjective, but I'm just trying to think about what it is that clues me in. I think one of the things is language. You realize someone might be struggling because of the language and use. So there's so many different ways to describe a situation. I find that someone who is feeling hopeless will use language that reflects hopelessness.
Yeah.
Someone who is feeling like a bit of a victim will use language that perpetuates that narrative.
Yeah.
So language is one thing I'm always clued in on. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be that they're telling you that they're a victim. They could be talking about a pizza. But some of the language around there talk about their experiences like, oh, I really need this. I've not had anything good for such a long time. That's very obvious, but there's also more subtle ways that people will communicate. So language is one. And if you know the person well enough, so obviously if it's someone you care about and you've seen them go through hard times, you'll notice that when they're stressed, there's a level of compensation that happens. They might double down on helping others. They might double down on work. They might double down on binge watching shows. There's something that's like a turning point.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're attuned to that level with them, then those would be the signs. For me, I know I'm close to burnout because I end up getting nostalgic. I get really nostalgic. I'll start listening to like Motown and stuff because I'm like, that's what my mom used to listen to back in the day. And that's because that was a time where shit was carefree.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have to
Someone else was looking after.
Someone was looking after
Yeah,
me, right? And also I like playing computer games. So I'm like, okay, what game am I going to pick up? What game am I going to play? If I'm spending, other than recently, I'm playing far too much computer, but it's not because I'm stressed. It's because I'm hooked on this game and it's incredible. Not sponsored, but it's those things. If I kind of, weirdly, it's like a regression. If I regress into like a kid version of me, it's because I just want to be looked after.
Yeah.
But because I know that about myself, I know how to take care of myself.
Yeah.
But those are going to be similar signs you see in other people.
It's interesting you should say that because something I've noticed a lot recently myself is you said about wanting to be looked after. I just wish someone would feed me. Like I'm so sick of making my own dinner. Like that's the thing that's bothering me at the minute.
Yeah.
I seriously have to cook my own dinner every day for the rest of my life. That's it now, is it? And I think I have been working a lot. I've been studying. I've been doing extra projects. Like all of those things. And the thing that I keep getting really stuck on is having to feed myself. And I'm like, I want my mum to feed me or someone else to. Just want a hot meal, but I don't want to have to spend the time thinking about it, making it. I just want to sit down and it be there. And I've only really just connected that to being, I suppose, a child where I think I looked after for me and I didn't have to think about it. And I did my thing and I came home and there was a dinner there ready for me.
Bliss back then.
Yeah, and I didn't realise that was a thing.
Yeah.
Until you just said that, and that makes sense. It's because I'm tired, I'm burnt out. I want someone else to take the lead a little bit.
It's completely not. It doesn't mean as well when you're in that position that you're less capable of anything like that. It's just a case of actually one thing that's very apparent is we learn how to feel. I've been trying to contextualize emotions versus feelings for a minute because I'm like, feelings aren't emotions. Like when you got like body dysmorphia and you were saying things like you feel fat. Fat isn't a feeling. So what is it you feel? It might be, okay, you've got this bloating going on, you feel undesirable, etc., etc., etc. But it's attached to this narrative. And so the way I'm kind of framing feelings as their emotions plus story is, okay, you're feeling something and it's connected to a story. But we either learn to put those together based on experiences, but they're experiences that we've had and we've basically adopted that story and we carry that story everywhere we go. Sometimes we might feel something that's completely unrelated to what we're doing, but it's because it reminds us of a sensation. So something like feeling like rejected. If I feel rejected when like maybe I'm not invited out. Okay, it's not rejection. In fact, they may know that you don't like this event so much so that they've considered it and just not bothered with it. That's fine. That's actually they've got a very accurate map of who you are and they've honoured that. But you feel rejected because actually growing up, lots of siblings, you just felt excluded all the time. And that feeling of exclusion is now like codified as rejection. So you don't want to feel excluded. You are going to say no, but you want to be invited.
Yeah, I do that too. Yeah.
And it's that exclusion now has become another feeling. But objectively, it's just exclusion. If you ask them why they did it, it's not because they don't want you there. In fact, if they could get there, they would help you there. But they know you're
going to say no.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
So really understanding our feelings, it's just, they're all signals. It's all notifications. Like some are from Instagram, some are from TikTok, some are from Reddit, wherever. But the point is, they're only there to tell you things. They're not there to necessarily dictate how you move. They could be a part of the process. And so the fact that you're like, oh, well, fed, it's kind of like, well, actually, maybe you just need to relax a little. Maybe you got a lot on.
Yeah.
To the point where, yeah, maybe it might be worth going to a friend's house and getting her to cook you a meal.
Yeah. So if somebody it has those kind of, or any type of feelings where it is, like you say, the emotion connected to a story, the first thing to do, I guess, would be recognize that or start to be aware of that.
Yeah, if you like, being aware of it is great. What are you going to do with it? That's
what I was going to ask you.
What are you going to do with it?
What are you going to do with it?
And the thing is, I think a lot of people do come to therapy because they want the awareness. They don't want to do the doing.
Okay.
So.
And it must be a lot of work, working through issues, people.
Interestingly, I mean, yeah, it is, but not for me.
Not for you. I mean for the person with you.
But you'll see that some people are talented at doing the do. Like, they're talented at doing the work. They just lack the awareness. Once they've got the awareness, some people get it done. They're a brand new person overnight. Money's gone from my pocket. But that's what you want to see. And there are some people who commit a lot more to keeping the version of themselves that they don't want alive. Like, this person is incapable, who doesn't do the work, he struggles with X, Y, Z, because that's what they know. And sometimes the knowing is more comfortable. And so, okay, you're aware of your feelings. What do? You don't have to do anything explicit. You just have to, that's what's been done. All these feelings are already codified. You can unlearn them by just recognizing, okay, this is a story that's attached. Is that story true? Yay, nay. Sometimes yay, sometimes nay. What context? Who with? Right? After that point, automatically the awareness is going to change how you move. If I'm ill every week, why am I ill every week? Every Tuesday I'm going out and having fish, whatever, and maybe I'm allergic and I don't realise. Once I'm aware, automatically I stay away from fish. And that doing is automatic from the awareness. A lot of what's happening happens automatically. So you don't have to give yourself an explicit task. It's just focus on understanding first. What does that mean for you? What does that mean for the version of you want to be? Well, I want to be the guy who doesn't get scared when I go into large crowds, but I've got social anxiety, and that social anxiety comes from XYZ experience. It might be a case that actually I'm never going to shake that feeling completely. So rather than trying to remove it, maybe I just learn how to deal with crowds a bit better, or create mechanisms that allow me to have the capacity to do that.
So it's learning that some things you can't change.
Except that you can't change
you react to that situation.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to change it or trying to avoid it.
There are definitely things you can put in place, but I don't think people should make that their initial goal. I feel like people should just understand themselves, get to know themselves. Like, if we did what you were to say earlier, like speak to ourselves like a child, or like our child, treat ourselves the way we would treat someone we love.
Yeah. We
probably wouldn't make them go do loads of stuff after we just found out. Oh, you're scared? Go do this, go do that. You wouldn't do that. You'd be like, okay, let's understand it. Why are you scared? Or what are you scared of? What parts of this is scary to you? How did it make you feel? And this is why it made you feel that way. It's all education. It's all, okay, we're walking you through the steps.
Yeah.
After that child would probably learn how to deal with their fear.
Yeah.
You didn't tell them to go part weights. You didn't tell them to go get proficient in knife fighting. But now they've got all these tools that help them with the fear. They're not fearless. They're brave. They do things in spite of their fear. And I feel like actually we should be treating ourselves with that level of education. It's the same as sometimes you're scared of something. You've done it for the first time and that fear is dissipated. 80%, 90%. Okay, I've done this. Now that I know about it, it's not scary. Now, automatically, because that fear is not the same, the behavior is not the same either.
Yeah, it's a bit of desensitization to different things.
It's like exposure therapy. You just
Yeah.
have to show up with it and deal with it. And so,
But in a kind way to yourself rather than I suppose like
don't do
a
this.
forceful way.
Like,
Yeah.
stop. No, just
Yeah.
take your time, honour yourself, but it benefits you to get acquainted with this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I want to come back to mental health in
Mm.
particular, because that's what I really wanted to pick your brains on today. It's International Men's Day. Well, it would have been International Men's Day a couple of days ago when this goes out.
Mm.
So I feel like there's a lot of talk about mental health nowadays, more so than when I was a child. I think, although I wouldn't have been as aware of it back then, but I think even like my parents' generation, it wasn't something that was talked about a lot. Do you think there are more issues with mental health, or do you think it just was never spoken about before, or a bit of a mixture, or something entirely different?
I think it's a bit of a mixture and something entirely different. I think the world is evolving almost on every front, and expectations evolve. We as individuals evolve. We've got tools that make us more efficient, but we use them to do more. We don't use them to get back more time. We don't use them to make it so that we do less. We use it so that, okay,
We're not making space, we're creating more jobs.
We're creating more jobs within our job.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you have one occupation, one role, but now everyone's role is realistically an amalgamation of 5 or 6 different jobs.
Yeah.
And I feel like that creates stress. For me, I'm poor at recognizing stress because I'm always happy and gassed. And so for me, I understand that in my head, I have to remind myself, in my head, stress is negative. So if I don't feel negative, I'm not feeling stress. And that's not true. I'm feeling stress, I'm just not feeling negative, because stress isn't inherently negative. There's 2 types of stress. You've got eustress and de-stress. Distress is the bad stress, comes from anxiety, all that kind of stuff. Eustress is like going to the gym. I'm putting my body under tension, but I feel positive about it. But the one stress that we don't accommodate properly, or, well, the fact that we're having to accommodate it at all is a problem, is chronic stress. And that's the killer. It's stress over a long period of time. And the point is that there's so much stimulation now. Like, there's so much going on. We're obligated to do so much more. I feel like, and some studies apparently argue this, but I don't agree, that every generation has had it the same. I've read another study that says millennials have it the hardest because they're dealing with the kind of transition period of the world where it's gone from being like largely analog to now largely digital. I do think I think it's all subjective. If you choose to do everything to the best possible standard, you're going to be stressed. You're going to suffer, and it's admirable. And a lot of us think that's enough. Like, oh, yeah, but it'd be worth it. It won't. You're not going to have a quality of experience. And if not now, then when? A lot of people defer their happiness. I'll be happy when I'm 80, mate. 1, you might not make it to 80 if this is how you're moving. 2, how do you know? Happiness is an emotion, just like sadness or anger. It's fleeting. It doesn't last. What you want is, you just want to have a life that you can be happy with. And
you're surely fixing that emotion to being accomplished in something, whether that's finishing work and being retired.
Why are you happy at 80?
Why choose then instead of now?
And also, it's kind of like, the maddest thing to me is we anticipate feeling feelings after things that we haven't done. So how do we know that the feeling is going to be what we expect? That's where disappointment happens.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a friend who bought a house, amazing house, it's an incredible job, and it's what he's always wanted. And he had a bit of a crisis, bounced back very quickly, mind you, but he had a bit of a crisis because like, this doesn't feel how I expected it to feel. In fact, he was working so hard that he'd become quite addicted to the stress. And he was like, I don't have the stress. That's stressing me out. And so the fact that he was like, oh, there's a discrepancy here between how I expected to feel and how I actually feel, and it threw him off. And a lot of us have that all the time. We get into relationships, when we have kids, when we buy houses, when we go places, we go on holiday or go traveling. It doesn't feel how you expect to feel. the problem isn't the experience, the problem is the expectation.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we can't help but have expectations.
Yeah.
We just got to make them reasonable and not expect anything too far down the line. It's just, okay, what's going to happen today? What do I have control over? If it doesn't work out, that's okay. We can pivot, we can adjust. And I don't think people are set up like that.
Yeah.
They're very much on rails, linear pathway. If there's a deviation, it's stress.
Yeah.
So I think it is a combination of more's happening, we're talking about it more, and all the other factors, political climate, like environmental climate.
Yeah. And you mentioned a little while ago about kind of how things were, I suppose, two generations ago. Like, I believe that the way we work now plays a part in people's not just stress levels from a like doing things perspective, but we're not moving as much. Like, people are going to the gym now because our day to day, like, we don't do anything. We drive everywhere. I mean, people even drive. They might just work, like, they could have walked there in 5 to 10 minutes. But people drive everywhere. They might be sat at a desk all day. That's stressful on the body as well. That lack of movement is stress.
That's not what we are equipped to be doing. That's not how our nature is supposed to be utilized. And I also believe that people back in the day had a lot more holistic lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because they had no choice. Like, you couldn't get from A to B as quickly as you can now.
We've got to drive through McDonald's on the way.
We've been drive through McDonald's, convenience food. And also, like, mindfulness. So mindfulness, it's crazy that, like, a lot of people's solutions tend to be mindful acts. And basically, it's doing things in a boring way. And that really undersells it. Doesn't make it sound great. But all mindfulness is being connected to your action.
Yeah.
It's, okay, I'm here in the present doing the thing. Having a mindfulness coffee in the morning could set up your day. All that needs is sitting there with a coffee, not your phone, look out the window, think about it.
And how many people do that now?
And it's so easy to do. All you have to do
is not look at your phone.
Is not look at your phone.
Yeah.
And maybe go outside. Yeah, okay, in the UK, listen, I get that. That's a different mental health issue there. But if you've got like a porch or a balcony and you could people, even behind you there's a window, and I'm constantly looking at the people walking by, and I could do this all day. That's what mindfulness is.
Yeah.
And even like just so
in present.
Yeah, like sometimes I'll just sit there and play with my hands, but I'm paying attention to the feeling.
Yeah.
Like, okay, little finger, ring finger, middle finger, and it's just being here
in the moment
as much as possible. Back in the day, that's all they could do. My mum used to talk about playing with like hula hoops and sticks. Yeah, I mean, they didn't have a phone. They didn't have an iPad. They didn't have consoles. They couldn't just watch TV. They couldn't ring up. Not everything was accessible to them.
Yeah.
And everything is like the fast version of what it used to be.
Instant.
Yeah.
We expect instant everything. I even, like, if I'm on my phone and it's not moving quick enough, and it might have only been a couple of seconds, I find myself getting irritated.
Yeah.
Because we expect everything to be now. Whereas before, I would have had to have picked up the phone, rang someone, go do it, like leave the house to go and do something. I'm trying to get some food.
Yeah.
I want to ring.
I have to go and find, like.
You have to physically do the things, which would have taken a lot longer than the 15 seconds it might have taken to buffer.
It's wild. And like, so at the point of recording this, I think it was yesterday or the day before, like there was a network outage. I'm not going to name the network. I don't know if that's got any negative implications, but the home Wi-Fi was down, the phone internet was down. And I was like, this is how we lived.
Yeah.
We didn't have this back in the day. I felt so disconnected for a second. And when I realized, I was like, I'm inaccessible. I'm in the house with my family, doing what I want to do.
Which is actually a bit of a luxury.
Yeah.
But we find that stressful.
We pay to go into cabins to do that.
Yeah.
And it's weird. Even think about fast food. Like, fast food is really unhealthy. People are becoming health conscious. The alternative for a lot of people is things like Gusto or HelloFresh, which is essentially take a page from a cookbook, send you the ingredients, which you can do by going shopping mindfully. You just go shopping, know what you want.
We can't do that because we've created these extra jobs for ourselves.
It's ridiculous. It's a job.
Do you think obviously social media is having an effect on everyone, but do you think that social media, specifically when it comes to men, do you think that is putting any additional strain or expectations or feelings of inadequate? I don't know. Do you think that's having an effect?
Yeah, I think the thing is, I feel like I've got a great and terrible relationship with social media because I don't believe that it's having an impact on my behavior, but I would be a stupid, crazy man if I also believe that unequivocally. Like, I have to be reasonable here. I'm just like any other human. It's definitely impacting me in some way. And I'm just not aware of it.
Yeah.
It happens. But the point is that there's something we refer to as a mental diet, and it's whatever goes in is being processed.
Yeah.
How is that manifesting in your behavior?
Yeah.
It might become insecurities. It might become expectations of people outside. I know a lot of men who are wonderful men, and they get stuck in a bad period of their time, like of life, and they end up online, and they end up in a little corner where men are hating women. They've never been like that. Well, after 6 weeks of watching all of the worst case scenarios of men being harmed by women, now they think of it.
Yeah, they're
And it's like, if you put them out of their room, be like, what have your experiences with women been like? Oh, fantastic. Every woman in my life is incredible. But I hate women. Why? Because Joe Bloggs, who I don't know is even talking the truth, is saying X, Y, Z. And that's just one scenario. Then you've got all these people who talk about all these conspiracies, or they talk about diets and how protein is actually full of knives and it's stabbing you from the inside, or whatever people are saying. The point is, there's so much information online that no one's even interested in verifying, that it makes you so uncertain, and uncertainty is what gives you anxiety. If you don't know, you try to anticipate it, and you try to anticipate it based on the experiences and information you have. If you don't have the experience because you stayed inside or you stayed on your phone and you've locked in on social media, or you don't have the information because all the information you're given is false, you're set up to fail.
Yeah.
And I feel like, unfortunately, if we don't audit our use or really kind of calibrate our understanding or the way we ingest information, all of us have been impacted negatively in one way or another.
Yeah.
All of us. And yeah, any issues we have prior to social media are really only getting exacerbated because of social media. And I don't think social media is evil. We just lack the self-control to use it in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Which is use it to stay connected, to be connected. Use it to augment your life, not replace it.
Yeah.
And I think you should be using anything.
In a lot of ways, it's replacing connection because it's that kind of mindless scrolling.
Yeah.
You don't know these people. You don't know any of this stuff. You're not really speaking to the people that you do know. And the reason why you would have set up Facebook however many years ago to stay connected with the people that aren't immediately in front of you.
And they'll take as much as I understand sometimes it's necessary, but they'll take a phone call or message over a catch up with a coffee.
Yeah.
And it's like, just go, it doesn't have to be frequent. Just go for a catch up with a coffee. Tell me how different that feels.
I prefer even to do my work meetings face to face. Like when we first had a chat, we could have had that over the phone.
Yeah. No,
I wanted to go actually sit face to face with someone, have that conversation. I think you get so much more and you learn so much more from
how we're supposed to connect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, let's say, so I'm atheist, but let's say there is a God or a creator or something that's not what he had in mind or they then had in mind. And it's like our nature didn't create iPads or iPhones or computers, or we did. And we originally did it to try and augment our lives to further our evolution. But I feel like weirdly technology has got to a point where technology evolves, we evolve. It's like actually it's just replacing our bit. I think that there's a lot of conversation around AI ruining our memory because we're not using our brains.
No.
We're relying
we're looking for it from
and like I said, I don't know how much of that's true. I'm guilty of not verifying information too. But the point is, it's a point. It's a conversation to be had. And
we're not spending the time considering something either. We're not spending the time thinking about what the answer could be or using our imagination as much.
Even if it's wrong.
You can even ask it to come up with like 15 different ways to imagine something.
Yeah.
And rather than just doing it ourselves. And imagination is a huge part of kind of.
I think creativity, imagination, it's all part of our ability to problem solve. Like, I've always said, I think I said it earlier, was like, be interested in you the way you wish other people were.
Yeah.
But being interested is hard for people now. Some people don't know how to be interested. Like, no one's curious. They think they've got everything they need to know in their phone. And it's like, you don't know how that feels or smells, or you don't know what the experience is. You have to be there. You have to go and do things. And I think I really enjoy curious people because they tend to be a lot more open to new experience.
Yeah.
And I'm doing better now, trying to be more curious, trying foods I know I hate because I've tried a version of it before, but I'm like, let's go try it. Like, what? I'm not going to die. It's going to be okay. And that's another thing. Is like creativity is something I feel people have let go of. It's something we had in abundance as kids, and we learn how to not be creative. Whereas if we hold on to that creativity, whatever our creative expression was, music, drawing, painting, acting, whatever it was, we all had creative expressions as children. We let go of it. But yeah, it's that being able to troubleshoot and problem solve, which will help us with our mental health.
So we need to switch off the devices more, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. We
And
need to have less
actually
devices.
just have that human connection.
Yeah, even if it's like one, the other, or both. Have more human connection, have less devices, or do both. If you can have human connection, just don't have devices there. Play board games. Like, they're so much fun. And people have forgotten about them because they replaced them with like consoles or drinking games.
So I asked you a little while ago about what you notice in people that may be beginning to suffer with their mental health or having, whether it be a crisis or not even as serious as a crisis, but for somebody who might be listening who is noticing those things in somebody else, what advice would you give them on how they can support, or, you know, where can they direct them if they feel that it's at the point it needs more than they're able to give them or support them with?
So I think one thing that everyone could be better at is understanding their ability to support, because you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah.
Ultimately, if someone's going through something, it's for them to manage, and you can't save anyone really unless you can encourage them to save themselves.
Yeah.
And that's not completely like there's going to be situations where you can 100% absolutely save someone, but the point is just know that regardless of your effort, it might be fruitless or it might fall on deaf ears, but don't let that stop you from trying. Always show up. And I feel like the most accessible and the most effective ways to do that is to just start a conversation. Are you okay? Listen, I'm here. If you need anything, I'll just listen. I won't give you any advice. The greatest thing about that is people will come for your ears, and then if they want advice, they will just ask questions. And if you have any insight, or if you, within that conversation, identify, oh, I know a resource that I might benefit from, then you can show them. But realistically, if you don't have the resources, but you know the nature of the problem, okay, it's abuse related, it's trauma related, it's like discontent, it's loneliness. The greatest thing about technology, like I said, using it to augment our life, jump on Google, not ChatGPT, jump on Google and Google essentially an abridged version of what you just heard, see what resources come up, and make it known that whatever resources are there, your friend, partner, parent, child, whoever it is you're supporting can utilize them. And if you've got the capacity, be with them. Okay, there's a group, there's a meeting, let's go together. One thing I see at the man cave a lot is that men bring their friends, their brothers, their parents, end up staying for themselves. So even though we find it so much easier to support other people, but in supporting other people, we actually exercise our ability to just support. And then at some point, we make the choice to use that muscle for us. And so it could be a case of that vulnerability brings you together a lot closer. So if it is someone you care about, you're not going to be mad at that.
Yes.
But just first accept that your powers are limited, but you're still powerful. Start a conversation. Be the one to start the conversation. Don't wait for them to come to you. If you notice the signs, if you care about them, just let them know, listen, I'm sensing a change in your energy. I might be wrong, but I just want you to know I'm here. and then support them as much as your capacity is willing.
Yeah.
That's what I would suggest.
Yeah, and it's you have to consider your own mental health as well when you're trying to support someone else's. One thing I would say is, do I have the capacity to deal with what they might bring to me, or how am I going to then support them with that? So maybe be prepared if you're opening up that line of communication to then have to follow through with potentially looking for some support for them that you are unable to provide.
And I think some people want to help so badly that they don't take stock of their own capabilities or their capacity. They just chuck themselves in, and that's not good for anybody.
Yeah.
Like, if someone falls into a volcano and I want to save them so badly that I jump in after them, none of us have taken it out.
Yeah.
So you kind of sometimes, unfortunately, we've got to really look and be like, oh, I'm going to be honest here, I can't, I know you're in a sticky situation, but I can't help. I've not got the tools, I can't do it. Doesn't mean you can't point in the right direction or even be mindful of like coming across things that will benefit them. But yeah, sometimes being kind isn't always the kindest thing to do, because actually all you're doing is taking their pain and taking it on with you. You're not really.
And there are, obviously, like the man cave, there are things out there that people can look for support, whether it's someone's looking for support for themselves.
Yeah.
There are a lot more things out there.
There's loads, so many.
I'm going to make an assumption, because I'm not a man, so I'm going to make an assumption.
Go on.
I'm going to assume for a lot of people, whether you're male or female, but you're going to go to a support group like this or look for some sort of therapy. I would imagine for people that's going to be quite scary. What would your advice be to somebody who is thinking about going along to the man cave or something similar, that if they're not like local and they can't get to that? What advice would you give someone, or words of kind of encouragement would you give someone who was struggling to make that decision?
I think, and this, I would rather people's minds didn't work this way, but it kind of touches upon something I've just said, which is people find it easier to do things, support other people than themselves. A lot of people's like motivations coming to the man cave is not themselves.
Yeah.
They want to save themselves for the benefit of someone else. So they acknowledge that they have value to someone in their life, but they don't see it. So some of them, and I've heard far too many men say, the only reason I'm here is because of my kids. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm glad. I'm glad that there's a reason and you found it and you're honouring that. That's great. But ideally, in an ideal world, I'd like you to be here because you want to be here, because that's who you want to benefit. But if you've got something like the man cave in front of you and you know you could use it, but you're not quite sold, then do it for someone else. Like, okay, who's going to benefit when you come to the man cave? Is it your partner? Come for your partner. Is it your kids? Come for your kids. Is it your brothers, your sisters? Are you a people pleaser? And there's lots of people in your life who you want to make sure are okay and that needs you to be okay. Then come. Because in a space like a man cave, you will learn to value yourself. So even if it takes an unhealthy thought to bring you into that space, you're not leaving with that thought. We're going to transpose it. We're going to do alchemy. We're going to take it and turn it into something that's really conducive to you and your family. Because I think a lot of people seem to think that those choices are binary. It's either me or you. If I'm picking me, I'm picking everyone, because everyone benefits from me putting me first sometimes. So that's one thing. If you can't do it from a healthy perspective, if an unhealthy thought brings you in, please.
Yes.
We've had people come in with suicide notes and their thought was, this is my last attempt. After this, I'm off. And if it didn't work, I'm off. We've not had anyone off. We've had numerous people come in, chop their notes in the middle of the circle and be like, this is if I can save my life. Pardon my swearing. Am I allowed to swear? Too late now anyway.
I'll bleep it out if not.
But yeah, it's stuff like that. And also one thing that brings people, particularly to the man cave, is someone else signposting them. So it's always, it's usually women, partners, parents. My husband's going through it. I wanted to go. and other men bringing other men. So someone's brought their friend, but they've stayed for themselves. So if someone's struggling, but they want to go, but they don't have the courage, do it in steps. If you can get to the car park, get to the car park, go home. Baby steps. Just keep making it accessible to yourself. Bring somebody. Even if they don't need support, don't be scared to ask for help. That's the first step. It's it's a overpowered ability. If you can ask for help comfortably, you're going to get so much further in life than anyone else. I don't care I've done it all by myself. Shut up. No, you just don't acknowledge people that supported you. And why are you so proud? Why are you so proud? Ask people for support and help. And if you could do that, you'll always be okay. Okay. That's a bit simple, but you'll usually be okay. So
a lot more chance.
Yeah.
With reaching.
Ask for help, bring support, make it accessible to yourself. And if you've only got unhealthy motivations, as long as it puts you past the threshold, I'm okay with that.
And what can someone expect when they do come along? Like, what does a session kind of consist of? When somebody walks through the door, what was the first thing that they'll see? Explain it to.
So I was to try and encapsulate the feeling that most men will experience, maybe not immediately, but at some point, it's permission to soften. So with the man cave, it's a case of whatever your pain is, when you come into the room, you feel better already. You feel, it's like when it's been raining outside, you come into the house, you know you're warm. You know you're going to get dry. You might not be dry yet, you might not be warm yet, but you're going to get there. It's very much like that. How it works is come in, because of the community, we're all very friendly. So we'll say hi. We'll try and make you feel comfortable. We acknowledge that sometimes approaching someone might be what they were worried about. They're like, I just want to be left alone, or kind of crawl into the room, be ignored, sit down, be ignored, get up, be ignored. That's what you want. It's not what you need.
Yeah.
What you need is to know that you can be whatever you want and get whatever you need.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. Okay, you need space? Oh, I'll sit over here. But if you need anything else, I'll be over here. So say hi, get you sat down. The circle is essentially there's what we call a preamble. It's just the rules, the stats, how it works in brief. And then we open the circle, and all that consists of is people saying their name, sharing their pain. That's it. No one talks to you, at you, no one gives you advice. It's just an opportunity for you to say what you've got to say and be heard. Or you don't have to say nothing. You can just sit and listen the entire time. And as soon as the meeting has ended, we'll have a couple of announcements, because we are very much a community now. We have other events on. So it could be cold plunges, it could be swimming, it could be drum lessons, it could be meals out, bowling, it could be a hike, it could be fundraisers. Anything that we've got going on will be mentioned. After that, there might be a few things happening on the night, just like casual things amongst friends. And you'll be invited to some of them, or you can leave. The point is, it's your journey. It will look whatever way you want it to. It's just one tool out of many that people should be utilizing. If you haven't got community elsewhere that are open to listening to you or supporting you, then there's one here.
Yeah.
So that's how the man cave works.
I think we're really lucky in Milton Keynes to have that, you know. And you said that you've got other.
We've got 2 in Milton Keynes.
Yep.
We've got 1 in Bedford, 1 in Toaster, 1 in Northampton.
And what days and times do they run? Do you remember them all?
So Monday and Thursday in Milton Keynes.
Yeah.
In Monday, it's actually in the building we're in now, so Unique Place.
Yeah.
It's in a community room. It's at 6 o'clock, or rather, the meeting starts about 6:30, but we start showing up from 6.
And people can just show up?
Just show up.
Yeah.
We don't need to have a membership or nothing. You just say hi, came to Man Cave, and then you'll be shown to the correct place. Be sat down. People will speak to you. We still see about 3, 4, up to 5 newcomers like every week.
Yeah.
And you don't have to, it's not reoccurring. You don't have to come every week. Use it how you want.
Yeah.
Thursday, a place called Challenge House in Bletchley.
Yeah.
6 o'clock as well. So people start showing up at 6.
Is that near the train station?
It is near the train station, yeah. Northampton is Wootton Leisure Centre. I don't know where roughly geographically that would be, but that's on Tuesdays. think again starts around 6, maybe a little later. Bedford, I can't remember the venue. Community centre. I think they're looking for a new venue anyway, but that's a similar time. I think that might be starting a little later. And then Coaster's also on Monday, which is, I think they've just changed the name, Parkside Leisure. I think so. That's on Monday, same time.
And if people wanted to check all of the times and everything out, we've got a website.
It's on social media. We've also got literature, which you might find in your area in the various shops. Our guys are very active in dropping leaflets.
I saw one in the doctor's surgery today. Yeah, it was up on the wall. It was in Water Eaton. I'd been saying it's not my doctor's. I'm over Newport Way, but I saw it up there and I thought, it's good to see that in the doctors as well.
Yeah, they do refer a lot of people.
Yeah, that's really good.
And MK Talking Therapies refer a lot of people. We had actually a CBT practitioner come through just to make sure that we had literature for them as well. So if anyone needed additional support, and one of our guys, his name is Nick Freeman, he kind of wanted to be anonymous, so that's I said his name, but shut up. I'm just going to mention him anyway. I've told him he needs to claim it. People connect with people. But he's made Milton Keynes Mental Health, which is literally just a link tree with all of the local signposts and stuff.
Okay, I'm going to make sure I get all of these.
I'll send that to you.
Yeah, I'll make sure everything's linked. Whatever platform this is being watched or listened to on, I'll make sure all the links are available. And anything else that we can kind of put in there that would be useful to people.
Fantastic. And Man Cave is the Man Cave UK on all platforms. Okay. The Man Cave UK.
Is this something you're hoping will spread across the UK and be UK wide?
At the minute, so that would be incredible. I'm not opposed to that. I think I'm trying to imbue it with the kind of values we have collectively, which is let's just be who we are. And so that's naturally growing. It's naturally becoming bigger and more effective. The better and more proficient we become with mental health, not just other people's, but our own. And so we try to create enough room that there's not too much pressure to conquer or expand. We want to collaborate with other charities. We've just connected with Andy's Man Club, which was originally based up north, but they've come down. They're in Northampton now. They've been there for a minute, but we haven't really been able to collaborate. But we connected over the Beacon of Hope, which is like a suicide movement, like a suicide prevention movement. And I was fortunate enough to meet some of the guys, and they're amazing too. But there's loads of groups like us that exist, so many. And I don't feel like we need to be everywhere, but I feel like all of them need to be accessible. Yeah. So if we could just link up. Yeah.
Obvious, available, people know how to find these things.
I would love to know the alternatives up north so that if someone was like, we're looking for something similar. Okay, we know about this one. Yeah. It exists. So that's kind of how we want to operate. And if that means we end up traveling, I know we're going to end up in London. London keep asking for us a lot. We keep being brought in for talks, and a lot of the corporate staff, men are like, we would love something here. So I think London might be somewhere that happens in the near future. But other than that, I have no idea.
And it's a charity?
Not yet. It's a CIC.
It's a CIC.
But it will be a charity soon. I'll just need to pull my finger out. Maybe I'll come. Yeah.
It's hard work getting things.
Yeah, it's all me though. Everyone else is ready. I'm just like, but it's the technology, trying to do all of my phone is a myth.
So hopefully, some people might be listening to this in 2026. Hopefully by then it will be a charity. In which case people will be able to support it in other ways.
In other ways, yeah.
And one of the things I'd like out of this episode is for people to tell other people about the fact that this exists. So it should be coming up in conversation. Tell people, tell everyone. There's no reason why it shouldn't come up in conversation, even if it doesn't feel like it's a relevant thing. Everyone needs to know that these things are available. There is a question I want to ask you in a minute, but I'm going to save that until the end. For this section of the episode, actually, there's 2 more questions for this section. If there was something that you wanted people to take away from listening to you today, like something key piece of advice or a key takeaway, what would that be?
I think I'm just trying to think of what would be the most prerequisite step to take before anything else happens. And I think it would be honest with yourself. Like, just acknowledge, male or female, just acknowledge who you are, what you can and can't do, and accept that. And then go from there. Like I said,
BS.
yeah, cut the BS. I feel like that's, like I said earlier, I think that awareness will drive your behaviors differently. So I'm kind of hoping that if you could just sit there and really, okay, let me be honest with myself. This is how I feel. This is what I want. This is what I need, etc. I feel like a lot of your behaviors will start to change automatically. It doesn't have to be a contemplation or a plan. It's just, okay, today I'm eating XYZ. Oh, I really want to stop eating my club. So and so.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're making a more mindful effort
Yeah.
in that change. It doesn't have to be something explicit. So yeah.
Be honest.
Hunt the rubbish, be honest with you.
That is a good takeaway, I think. And you also have your own social media where you talk about your views and opinions on so when it comes to mental health and therapy. I love your videos. I think they're really, really good. I like the realness of them. I like the fact that you cut the BS and kind of just say
I try,
as it is, which I think they're funny as well. Like, they are fun to watch. And how can people find you? If people wanted to work with you on a one-to-one basis, how can they find you? And in what other ways can people kind of connect with you?
So my handle on all social media platforms, I think currently, is Therapy with LP. So plug that in Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, not YouTube yet, but that will be happening.
It's got to.
Yeah, I need to
get on there.
Pull my finger up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where you can find me. And then actually my contact details are, I think, linked to all of them. I do have a website which is Therapy with LP too.
Yeah. And we will make sure all of these are in whatever information connected to.
Yeah. And I think I have an inquiry form on there. So if you wanted to collaborate, because I do make content for other companies, I do talks, workshops, webinars, as well as one-to-ones. So I'm open to collaboration, even if it's content, even if it's conversation, podcast appearances. Yeah, I'm more than happy to do any of that. Just any excuse to connect. I'm about that life.
Amazing, thank you. Different subject now.
Cool.
You had a procedure.
I did have a procedure. Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that. I know there's going to be some listeners who want the information because you're being inundated on your social media, aren't you?
I am. In any minute, I've never had my genitals spoken about so much. So
that you're aware of.
That I'm aware of, yeah. In conversation that I'm involved with. So I had a vasectomy. Yeah. Which is not news on its own, I don't think. But I think because I've not got any kids and because it kind of aligns with my content in a way that I can talk about authenticity and permission and just kind of knowing who you are and wanting to do. And I knew I didn't want kids for a long time. A long time, but I was never really honest about it. I was just like, I'm not allowed to not want kids. No one is not allowed to not want kids. You have to have kids, even if it's not for your sake. You need to make your parents grandparents. You need to give your nieces and nephews cousins and what. So, yeah, I had a vasectomy, and a lot of women are crying. It's mad.
No baby Lloyds.
No baby Lloyds.
That's a shame.
Yeah, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. Yeah. I'm so glad. And I think a lot of people ask me why. Yeah. And the non-sexy, really boring answer is just don't want kids. Yeah. And it can be that simple. It's allowed that simple. Yeah. I annoy myself when I try to give an elaborate answer because I just don't. It's man. Like, why must I want kids? Like, you can't ask that question because everyone will shoot you. Because for humanity, there's not enough people on the planet. Well, I think 1 or 2 is a very small difference, and I'm not going to add any. I'm sure there's people out there who've got plenty. I'm 1 of 14, so my dad did his fair share. Yeah, he did his share. Yeah. So we're all good. I do have lots of nieces and nephews, and I know my brothers jokingly gave me stick, but at the same time, they accepted it. They were like, "It is what it is. It's not what I would want you to do. Very selfishly, I want you to have kids so that I can like teach them swear words and make your life a living hell. But yeah, I took that away from them. So I've got to give them, what is it, free babysitting now forever?
So what was the procedure like? Can you
Fantastic.
talk us through
It
it?
was the best time of my life. No, it was. So before the procedure, the process was quite long-winded because I tell people I was on the waiting list for 4 years, which is technically true. So I asked the first time I asked for a vasectomy was 4 years ago. And it was a very interesting conversation because the guy on the phone because it was on the phone. I didn't go to the doctors. So I got put on the phone with like a paramedic or whatever. And he was like, but what if you fall in love? And I was like, then I just don't have kids with that person, do I? Like, what were you asking? And so I didn't feel like I was taken very seriously, but I do understand why they do it. Like, I'm not knocking that. I was just very frustrated. It's my own thing. So 4 years passed, but nothing. I've no letters come through, no messages, no phone calls, not that I know of. And I just got fed up not long ago, about a month and a bit ago. And I went back to the doctors and I was like, I don't think you guys take me seriously. And she was just like, let's do it. Let's get you in. And then within a matter of moments, I was getting dates to consider. And those dates were very close to the current date. I was like, well, I didn't realize it was going to happen this quickly.
Did you feel like, did that make you question it? Or was that exciting?
It was pure excitement.
Yeah.
I was like,
Finally.
I'm ready. Like, I was looking at YouTube tutorials on how to do it myself. I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah, I'm so glad it's a team. But I went, it was in a clinic in Oxford, an MSI clinic. And from the moment I got into the clinic to the moment I left, I was made to feel very welcome. So,
and this is, sorry, through the NHS?
Through the NHS. So they ask you to pick your clinic. And then once you've picked the clinic and your date, they'll book in a consultation call, which they walk you through all of the bits of the procedure. They ask you all your health questions, like, are you on medication? Are you doing this? What's your weight? What's your height? Have you got kids? Are you certain? They want to make sure you're certain. And one thing I've become very clear, and I don't know if this is reflected in people's experiences, they don't actually care about your age or whether or not you have kids.
I was going to ask if age played a part.
Which a lot of people believe. And I don't think they do. Like the MSI clinic who are doing the procedures, as long as you're sure, they don't care. I think unfortunately, people have opinions, doctors, nurses, they have opinions and they will reflect that. And we will see their opinions as a reflection of the institution. Like, okay, the NHS don't want young people to have, I'm sure they'd much rather people not have kids because that's probably more of an expense. But the point is that they don't care. They really, really champion bodily autonomy. You can do what you want. If you are younger, they make counselling mandatory, which is, I think that's fair. If you're young and you're like, actually, I don't have enough life experience to know really what I want, which might feel a little bit uncool. I know what it feels like to feel that way. But yeah, I think they're just doing their due diligence, right? So that was the consultation call. They mentioned all the stuff. And then when you go into the clinic, it's more of the same. You have a brief, which is about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. He asked me if I'd eaten. I hadn't, so he gave me some biscuits, which I thought was very nice of him. Again, same questions, weight, height. They tell you that to think of the procedure as permanent because it's not guaranteed that you'll be able to reverse it. And I was like, I hope so.
I want it. Yeah, that's the plan.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't want to ever, because the one thing that keeps happening, every time I tell people, I get upset with me, they're like, oh, well, at least it's reversible. Like, that's what I want.
Yeah.
I don't want kids. I don't know why you're so gassed that it might be reversible. And it's projection. A lot of people it's not comfortable for them. Oh, I just touched the mic. It's not comfortable for them to know that people don't want kids. And I don't know if it makes them question their decisions or anything like that. I don't think anyone has to be. There's no right or wrong. That's the greatest thing about having autonomy.
Yeah.
From the brief,
it probably makes them feel more comfortable just knowing that you would be able to change your mind at some point in case.
I think so.
And that would probably come from a caring perspective.
Absolutely.
I would think.
No, I know people mean well, but what they say and how they approach makes you feel so invalidated.
Yeah.
Like, no one believes you, no one trusts you. Everyone looks at you a little bit sideways, like you're stupid. And it's like, okay, woe is me. Like, oh, I feel so bad. But I know they don't mean it. but it's unanimous, and it's very apparent that everyone has a very similar idea. And yeah, I think people have a hard time honoring me for me and like looking at it from my perspective, because I then made a post about like the frustration of that and how no one is celebrating my win with me. Not that I'm not asking anyone to, but this is what it is for me. It's something worthy of celebration. Like, I want to celebrate my snip.
And that's fair.
And that is fair. But what ended up happening is I think a lot of people who I'd spoken to prior, I'd felt a little guilty, and they're like, I'm so sorry, like, let's celebrate. I'm like, I don't want a ball sack party. I'm just saying this is good news for me. Don't look, when I say I'm having a vasectomy with a smile on my face, don't look at me like I'm dying. So yeah, looking at people or like really appreciating people's intention and kind of trying to not dismiss the impact, because it's still important. I think people should be aware of how what they say makes people feel.
Yeah.
And obviously their feelings are their feelings, but it's not about them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going through the procedure, it's a choice. And if anything, it is a bit of a win for everybody. Like, the fact that there are systems in place where we really do have control over what happens with our lives moving forward is really, like, it's really important. If those systems weren't there, we'd be mad.
Yeah.
So the fact that I'm utilising that freedom
Yeah.
in the way I wish to, it should be something that I think everyone sees value in, right?
Absolutely. And my last question is, how has it been since?
It's been all right. The procedure itself was very straightforward, 10 minutes. Got in there, the guy basically reiterated what the guy before said. And then I had a woman like talking to me. As I go in, you drop your trousers to a certain level. And as soon as I brought my trousers down, she was like, "Is it cold in here?" I was like, "That's rude. You can't say that." But she was like, "No, I've got pink spots." I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's cold in here, but as long as you're not saying that because of anything else, it's all good."
He was trying.
She was so funny. So we had that conversation, and we were talking about all sorts of things for like 10 minutes, and before I knew it, it was done. The most painful part, which is not, I feel like it frames it as if it were painful, but the most painful part is the injection, which for me wasn't painful at all. Just felt like just a slight pinch, which is fine. And then everything else, I could not feel anything. So that was great.
Yeah.
Recovery room was fun. I was telling you downstairs, the woman I was pretty sure she didn't want to do her job. She just wanted to have a laugh.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. She made me a cup of tea, gave me some more biscuits, chatting rubbish about films. She actually got a notepad out and started making a note of all the films I recommended to her. And then she gave me a goodie bag with all like a collector sample from you later on. So 16 weeks you have to go as per usual, like wearing contraception, all this kind of stuff, which is fine. And then you send off a sample just so they can check that you're dead. Everything's got, you're firing blanks. I was warned of bruising and swelling. I've been right. There was a little bit of tenderness after the anesthesia wore off. It felt like I had a small person in between my legs uppercutting me every now and then. Just a quick. Since then, it's devolved into that periodic flick.
Yeah.
And I said, if I get up too fast, that's when it hurts the most. Other than that, I'm all good. Like, I'm golden. I can walk the same. Like washing, going to the toilet, nothing's really changed. And yeah, the scarring is so minimal. I thought I would have multiple marks around me, but I've just got the one point of entry, which seems pretty much completely healed.
Amazing. Well, thank you
Thanks, yeah.
coming in today and talking a little bit extra.
Yeah.
I sprung that on you just before we came up.
Yeah, no, I was big white balls.
But I feel like it could be something that will help other people who don't know what to expect or feel that they have to feel a certain way because of
Which is why I found it to be
people.
Yeah. A lot of conversations on social media are very much, what's the procedure like? I'm considering it.
Yeah.
My partner's considering it.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people warn me about their horror stories, which I think, again, intention versus impact. Like, listen, you can't come up to me and tell me it's going to be the worst time of my life.
Yeah.
You can tell me about your experience and just be mindful that I might have a similar one, but don't try and imbue my experience with fear.
Yeah.
But it's been wonderful.
Wonderful. It's not how I would have expected.
It's a wonderful. Honestly, I expected to feel like a sense of relief, which was like almost night and day. But to be fair, it's been very subtle. Just knowing that I've taken care of this, which is something I've had on my agenda for 4 years, it just my shoulders drop a little bit better. But yeah, it's nice to know that it's taken care of and that there's no fear of that call.
Yeah. Well, we're going to wrap up there. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for today. That's the session that I've done today. I'm actually getting good at those. Thank you. Really appreciate the time. And we will make sure that all of the information is listed alongside wherever you are listening or watching this.
Thanks, Sam. It's been a pleasure.